Stay tuned, stay tuned, stay tuned. I'm here with the coach, John Brent.
I'm here with the vet, Ian Griffin.
Man.
Go ahead. I'll tell you what we got. We got some Brian here. We're out at Los Pinos. A lot of you know that. That's what we're doing tonight. We're talking about 9/11, one of the most infamous days in our country's history. 19 years ago today. And we're going to ask Brian a couple questions. And first, Brian, where were you on 9/11?
I was in a top secret secure facility on a military base in San Antonio.
Wow. San Antonio.
Right.
Okay, so when did you find out while you were there on that base?
Well, basically it was about 9 o'clock our time, and the interesting thing was it was on Kelly Air Force Base. They had just given it back to the city about 2 weeks before.
Okay.
And so our facility was the only part that they didn't give back because they couldn't give it up. So we had a fence around our facility, and they hadn't put the gates in to our small area. So it was all of a sudden now exposed. The whole base was now wide open, but our spot was supposed to be secured. It wasn't secure yet. So they instantly brought over military with guns to just circle the property while it was such a risk. And so how I found out?
Yes.
Was in my cubicle. I was a contractor just doing IT development. Enlisted gentleman walks by and goes, "Hey, a plane hit one of the towers." And we're instantly all thinking a small Cessna or something like that. Just somebody went way off course. And about 5 minutes later, somebody else came by and said a second plane hit the other tower. And instantly we all knew it's not an accident.
Yeah.
We all run down to the kitchen where they had a big TV and everybody was there. And we're watching them burn. And then in about 30 minutes later, the Pentagon gets hit. And so instantly our situation went from what they call, I think they call it ThreatCon Bravo, which is just kind of stay alert. It went to Delta in about 5 minutes. But they just said skip right over it because that means we assume at this point every military facility, building, person in the world is now under threat.
Right.
Because you had those two places get hit, they didn't know what was coming next.
Exactly. So what was the mood of everybody in there?
The military started running around. Understandably, they know they have procedures. I'm sure you would know that. And we kind of knew that too. We had seen some things happen. So they instantly start, getting together and get their groups together and talk about what they're going to do. They didn't have a lot of weapons inside the building, so they were instantly like, how are we going to deal with this? We had one door on each end of the building, in or out. So they just tried to devise a strategy to do what they could. And of course, the rest of us nerds are sitting there just going, what the hell do we do? And they said, one of the military guys he was a little blunt because he knew this was a really horrible situation because they didn't know what to expect. Right. They said, look, you got a staple at your desk, you got a pocket knife on you, you might want to get them ready because we have no idea what's coming.
Yeah.
And so, everybody instantly is in. Now we're scared out of our gourds, essentially. Because we're like, we don't know what's going on.
So how did you feel personally?
I was definitely scared. I mean, just being in that environment and knowing, without talking about why that building was set aside, it was very strategic, very important. It could definitely be seen as a target. It wasn't a place where they stored trucks. There was definitely more important stuff going on in there, and so from an information security standpoint, it could be very strategic to take that out. And they started saying that. It's like, this could be a good target compared to a few others around the country. Like NORAD.
Sure.
It wasn't quite to that level, but it's similar.
Yeah.
As opposed to, like I said, where they store the trucks on Fort Hood, not a big deal, right? So we instantly are getting a little more fearful, and the timing being how our little area was not really secure. And we definitely got scared, especially all of us non-military people. Sure.
So I will say from my perspective, one of the big things is that feeling you really wasn't sure what's to happen next. Whether it was something to happen to us or we just didn't have that scenario. We're used to a scenario where we build up and go to war, but that wasn't the scenario we had. And it was just a weird, empty feeling. So my question to you, Brian, is after this happened that day there, did you get to go home at normal time, or did y'all have to stay a lot later? And what was your feeling when you got home?
Well, by the time they told us that they had locked down our building, it was probably a good hour and a half or two. They told us they got armed guards circling out, trucks going around. Yeah. Because it was they couldn't even close the gates, right? So when they told us that, they said, okay, y'all need to stay here because we can't protect you if you go out just to get in your cars, and we don't know what's coming. People could be waiting outside that fence for y'all to get in your cars and go. Hold you hostage, who knows what. So we were stuck there, I want to say till about 2 or 2:30, and then they said, They came. I think they were walking through with a bullhorn. They had 2 big rooms. One in each room was walking through a bullhorn and said, "Y'all, we're going to make an announcement here about 10 minutes. You're going to have 10 minutes to get out, get your cars, and get out of here."
Wow.
And there is no. You take bare minimum stuff. Don't worry about what's going on in computers. You need to get out of here as quick as you can because we don't want those gates to be open any longer than they have to.
Right.
And so essentially we want everybody lined up by the doors, ready to go get in your car. You don't dilly-dally, you don't make a phone call. You get in your car, you go, and you get as far away from this facility as you can, as quick as you can. And so that was about 2:30, I think we got cut loose. And then they said, by the way, because we don't know when we're going to get those gates put in, you don't come back until your companies tell you you can come out. We don't have any idea how long that'll be. So we went home, and I think it was a good week before we could go back.
Okay.
And so, they finally told us, we finally got the gates.
So, what are your feelings on afterward, the unity of the country right after that?
It was amazing. It was still sad. Of course, a lot of horrible things had happened, and it took a long time to get through that initial, to the tragedy part of it. But yeah, everybody came together. It was inspiring to say the least. I know one thing I forgot to mention when I went home, my kids had gotten released from school, and my wife at the time had already picked them up, and all I remember is just I kept hugging them for like an hour. And of course, they had no idea what was going on. They hadn't even told. They didn't understand why all of a sudden everybody was, providing them extra attention because it was just the most horrible thing we'd ever seen. So, but yeah, after that it was amazing.
Well, one of the things that I saw that was different, or I thought about, was this last couple of days of watching videos of NFL playoff games, the unity that they have with red, white, and blue, flags everywhere, people running out of the tunnels with flags. There was such a patriotism at that time that was kind of unmatched since then. So one of the questions that I asked my students this week was, if that were to happen today, 19 years later, do you think there would be the same unity in the country backing the United States of America, the U.S., and USA, as Bush, on the bullhorn?
Right.
And when we heard that, then it's all like everybody jumped off the couch.
Oh, everybody was ready to go.
Yeah.
I was one of those. If I was young enough, I would have been like, I'll go. It was that kind of amazing thing. Do I see that now? Unfortunately, I got to disagree with us. I don't quite see it. Now, maybe there's a lot of us that would. A lot of people I could speak to that would be right there, but unfortunately, as a country as a whole, we're a lot more divided than we were back then, unfortunately, and that's
and I tend to agree, and that's one of the things that's kind of sad about the state of the country right now, because normally I kind of look at the country as kind of like if you got a brother and you get in a fight with your brother and you beat your brother up all the time, and that's one thing, and then when the neighbor kid comes over and busts your brother in the head, then you're right there protecting your brother. I would hope that's what we would do, but I'm kind of with you, I don't know.
And I would like to hope that it would be better than I'm even fearing it might not be. But
sure.
I hope we don't get put in that position.
And me too.
Yes.
We've been lucky.
I definitely don't want that position again.
Sure.
Nothing even close to it.
No, we don't need that. We need something else. We just need to get along just to get along. That'd be great.
Yeah. I think there's a lot of us that remember that. But
absolutely.
Well, Brian, we truly appreciate you coming, just giving us 5 minutes of your time. And what we ask is
we're going to give you that.
Give you a bumper sticker from the Coach and the Vet. And check us out on Facebook, Spotify, Instagram, YouTube, and iTunes. Or you can even email us at thecoachandthevet@gmail.com.
I love hearing people's story about 9/11.
Thank you, guys.
Great
Thank
time.
you, sir.
Thank you so much. So what we're going to say
share.
right now from Brian and all of us is stay tuned, stay tuned, stay tuned.
Stay tuned.
Yep. Hey, we're here with Holly. How are you doing, Holly?
Fine, how are you?
I'm doing good. So we got a question for you, Holly.
Okay.
Where were you during 9/11?
I was at my grandmother's house, which is neither one. My grandparents are no longer here.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
That's fine. My grandfather actually died right after the second, after the towers.
Oh my goodness.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man.
He passed away. He had lung cancer, but it was real short and simple. So we had heard it, and I had just had foot surgery probably about 2 weeks before that, so I was already off work. So I was out there helping, take care of them, and helping with everything. And so,
And this is in Longview?
Longview, Texas, and so we grew up there. So of course, then I called my husband, and actually we were dating at the time, and he.
That's Corey, who wouldn't come talk to us.
This guy over here?
Yeah, that guy over there.
Okay.
And so he had just gotten off of work, and he was with his grandmother, which is no longer here also.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that,
And
Corey.
she, they kind of was talking about it, and so then he leaves Longview to come out to Henderson, out to Lake Cherokee, and gets in a wreck on the way.
Oh my goodness.
On the way out.
What a day.
I know, it was horrible. It was a horrible day. And finally, he makes it out there after hours later.
Oh my gosh. So that, I mean, I don't mean to say it like this, but that was, for America, that was truly a day for days.
Right.
But for your family,
Yeah,
my
it
gosh,
was-
that was
It was a long day.
y'all been through a lot.
Yeah,
oh my gosh.
it was.
How did you feel over the next few days? I know you had some,
Right.
issues going on in your family, but how did you feel as an American at that time, seeing what had happened to the, 2,977 people that had died, but also the country was kind of we just kind of stopped for a while.
Oh, it was devastating. I mean, you didn't know what to think. You didn't know who to trust, who it was, or if it was us, if it was them.
Right.
I mean, you had no idea.
Yeah.
I mean,
And living in Longview, there's about 80, 90,000 people there. So it's not a big city.
no.
But I know at the time I lived in Mount Pleasant. And
Right.
I was kind of scared to go to Dallas or Houston. Did you have any issues maybe the next couple of times you might have went to a large city? Just thinking about it, or it's not a big deal?
I don't remember. I mean, it probably was, and we just didn't focus in on it. I mean, I guess we still had to live our lives.
Yeah.
So the question I got for you is that's a lot of turmoil in your family. My goodness, and a lot of life tragedies within y'all's family. When did you actually were able to decompress a little bit from all this? Or have you?
Right.
I mean, I hate to say it like that,
Right.
but
Yeah, I mean, we knew he was sick, so I mean, we expected it, but then, we just didn't expect it all to happen on one day. So I mean.
So when you hear 9/11 or it comes back as an anniversary, I mean, we talk about it as Americans 19 years ago.
Right.
You have
I think of it as my grandfather
more of a
passing
personal
away.
thing. And
Yeah.
there's a lot of things that, like, I know my dad, when his birthday is, it's always Labor Day weekend. My dad actually passed away on Father's Day weekend, so now me being a father, it's great because I have kids, but I always think of Father's Day weekend.
You remember that.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
So since 9/11, some things have changed. What have you seen changed in the country that used to be one way that after that it changed?
Oh gosh. Yeah, travel and
Yeah. What are some of the things that you saw that changed with travel?
we don't go as much. Not what we used to. We took a lot of things for granted.
Yeah, definitely.
And especially since COVID has happened, I mean, even more so. I mean, we took for granted salt and pepper out on the table. I mean,
or
a menu on the table. I mean, seriously, and we trusted people to wipe them off and clean it up, and and I mean, who would have ever dreamed that this would change? I mean, seriously, this is our first time being out in public. I mean, we both work in the public, and we're around people all the time, and we have a 6-year-old, and so we have to think about taking it home to her, and school was a hard decision.
Yeah.
so your first time out in public, the coach and the vet bombard you and put you on a
Exactly.
podcast.
Corey threw you up here. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I know, right?
Perfect.
Yeah.
So,
I got one more question for you that we do want to know, because we love this country. That's why we're doing this. And he has a different perspective than me. I'm a coach. Sometimes I think X's and O's, and he thinks like a military guy. But one of the things that we really want to know from people is, after 9/11 happened 19 years ago in 2001, the country had some issues with the election with Gore and Bush and all these things that happened. But as soon as that happened, everybody kind of came together. It was the USA. It was red, white, and blue. Do you think if something like that were to happen with today's climate, that would be the same way?
I would hope it would, but I don't know if it would be.
And that's kind of where we all are. We all hope for the best. We need
We
more
need it
unity,
to be. Right.
but we don't want a tragedy for sure.
Right, exactly.
Holly, this has been great. Thank you for telling us
Thank
your
you.
story.
Thank
Food's
you.
going to get cold if we don't get you back. He's over there ready to go eat.
I know,
Corey's
right?
ready.
So we want to give you a sticker from the Coach
Okay.
and the Vet.
Oh, cool. Thank you.
And you can find us on Facebook, Instagram, Spotify, all the major outlets. But we're the Coach and the
Okay.
Vet on Facebook.
Okay.
And we'll have you on there Monday or Wednesday, okay?
Okay.
We're going to start right here. Stay tuned.
Stay tuned. Stay tuned. Thank you. Stay tuned, stay tuned, stay tuned. I'm here with the coach, John Brent.
And I'm here with the vet, Ian Griffin, and we've got the unmasked guy. His
Yes.
name is Ed.
We got Ed here from the Navy.
Yes, I am a resident of Tyler, Texas, but I work all over East Texas.
Really?
I'm a resident
Yes.
of White House.
Oh,
That's
well,
right.
you're just a little south.
There you
Yes.
go.
I'm a resident here at Pittsburgh, so
Oh, fantastic. With a winery.
yeah,
That's good.
I'm not a big city guy, so
So how long were you in the Navy?
I entered in 1991 while I was working in Lubbock because there was nothing else to do in West Texas, so I
Right.
joined the military. I'm a physical therapist. And
Awesome. Well,
there
thank you
was
for your
not
service
Thank
so
you.
much.
And I was there for 8 years.
8
Yes,
years.
I was attached to the Naval Hospital Pensacola.
oh, okay.
Awesome.
Yes.
So Ed, we got a question for you. Where
Yes.
were you during 911?
I love this story because I happened to be doing my 2 weeks reserve duty in Naval Hospital Bremerton in outside of Seattle in the Puget Sound, and I was in the Bangor Navy base, which is the home of the submarines.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
And when it happened, I was awoke by this rude knocking on the door by the military police.
That wouldn't happen.
I was at the
No.
bachelor's housing, and they woke us all up and told us to get dressed and to exodus from the barracks because they were not sure what was happening. They did not want us to be a target of
Yeah.
anything. So that's what we did. But they saw my badge. I was working for the hospital, so they said, you better report to your workstation, and that's how I got transitioned from just sitting around to moving.
So what were you thinking when you first, did you see it on TV or you?
Yes, it was everybody's TV was tuned in
Yeah.
to 911 events in New York when we were awakened, and that's exactly how we learned about it.
So when you were watching, how did you feel?
It was like, is this a movie?
Right.
Because we just got awakened, so we were not sure exactly how to react or to even get angry because we didn't know who was behind it.
You know who would get mad at you.
Right.
Exactly.
So when you finally did let everything, the dust settle a little bit, what were
Yes.
your emotions after that?
Well, I was very fortunate that I did not have much time to be emotional because the Naval Hospital got really busy with people wanting their medications
Yeah,
at
oh
the
yeah.
pharmacy because they were not sure
Yeah.
where else will be open. Everything was on a standstill. Nobody was allowed to fly.
Yeah.
And so we got really busy in the hospital because the staff that was only available because there was limited traffic to go in and out of the base, so no civilians were allowed in. So we got busy, the ones that were in the hospital. And you know, all the procedures had to be delayed or canceled or postponed.
Yep. So, you know, during this time, our nation really came together as a whole. You know, probably one of the few times that we've actually witnessed that.
Yes.
So, do you think that could happen again?
As far as the reality of when is hard to say, but one of the most beautiful times in the history in the calendar of the U.S. was 9/12. Not 9/11 is when the event.
Speaking our language, I mean, we know that it was an amazing time. I remember at the state capitol, Because just prior to that, a lot of people don't remember that we had a very tough election.
Yes.
Remember the Gore Bush? A
Correct.
lot of times that started some of the division that we had.
It
now.
was.
But
very
what happened
divisive.
was immediately after that, we have both parties on the Capitol.
And singing. Yes.
Together.
Yeah.
Yes.
And we had the Super Bowl that came up next was all about the red, white, and blue and the flag, and so many people were honoring our country.
Yes.
And that's what we were asking is, do you think something like that would happen if we had unfortunate attack again?
I think it doesn't matter too much of what I think, but I am hoping that people will focus more on what we have in common than what we have apart or what we do not have in common. There are so much more good than there is any bad.
Absolutely.
And the one good thing about 911 is celebrating 19 years this year.
Yes, sir.
And it hasn't happened again.
Absolutely.
Although there are many other ways of division that politically it has escalated.
Right.
And as a student of history, and I teach history and government, for 19 years, if you'd have asked me that same week, would this happen again?
Yes.
I would have said yes. So I'll have to thank Bush and Obama and even
Yep.
Trump now.
Yeah.
Thank our presidents that are in control of this, that have protected us, and we appreciate that.
That's
we need
right.
more unity. We need more togetherness.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, Ed, I would
Yes.
say we're grateful that you're here, man. We're
Thank
grateful
you.
you came and talked to us.
Thank you very much.
So we'd like to give you a sticker here.
Oh, I appreciate it very much.
So this is the
let's
coach
see.
and the vet right there. And you can find us on Facebook, Spotify, Instagram.
You're going to
Yes.
be on Facebook.
Yeah.
You're going to
Oh,
be
fantastic.
on YouTube.
Yeah.
The coach. And now who is the coach?
I'm the coach.
All right.
Don't I look like a coach?
The coach is the coach.
I'm a coach in
and,
Tyler, where you're at.
Oh.
At King's Christian Academy.
Oh, I know Kings. Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
And he's a vet. He was 31 years in.
In
Yeah.
what service branch?
In the Army.
Phenomenal. Oh, the K-Sons.
All right, well, let's end it up. So
Oh,
it's
yeah.
going to be stay tuned. Stay tuned.
Stay tuned.
Stay tuned.